Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. It's been a minute since I was gone. I've just been doing a lot of errands Thursdays and Fridays, and I'm trying to catch up at night, trying to work on designs for my small business, just trying to do a whole bunch of stuff, being a wife, cooking, cleaning, everything. And so there's times where I'm really tired. I don't really have time because it gets dark to make videos, and so I'm really trying my hardest here to really get as much content out as I possibly can. So I'm going to try my best. But guys, for today's video, as you can probably tell by my title, I wanted to talk about my birth control experience and why I got it, why I actually took it off. And to begin, I got what was called the Nexplanon. It's a birth control implant that goes in the arm. So I actually got it put in here. I have a scar from when it was removed. And I got it for two main reasons. Of course, my husband and I had talked about not, feeling ready to have kids, so that was one reason. I know a lot of people are so against it, and I totally get everybody has different opinions, different thoughts on it. However, my husband and I did agree we weren't ready, and we just wanted to wait it a little longer, and so we decided, birth control was a good option. I do have my 2 cysts. I was told that I had a 5-centimeter cyst on one of my ovaries, so I think it's on this side, and I had, I think, like a 3-centimeter one on this side. Reason I found out I even had an ovarian cyst was because I had mine twist very badly at one point, and I went to the hospital, found out I had that. However, it was benign, so they told me, one of your best options is to really just get on birth control if you possibly can, to see if you can reduce it. And I thought that was, my best option, to go with that. They said since it's not really causing any issues on your day-to-day life, then you don't really have to go in with surgery, because if you do go in with surgery and, you could potentially lose it if something goes wrong within the surgery. And so I really felt like it wasn't necessary for me to go through surgery. I didn't want to risk anything if it wasn't really affecting me. So I hopped on, trying to get on birth control to see if that would reduce. So those are my biggest reasons for even getting it. I got it before my period began. And yes, we're going to talk about periods. We're going to talk about all of that jazz. So, we're women here. For any girls that are watching, it's not something you feel comfortable with, you don't have to watch this video. But if you are interested in knowing, like, my experience as it was, please, feel free to watch. So to begin, I got my birth control a week before I started my period. There wasn't really like a window that I had to wait in. I know there's other birth controls like the Mirena, you have to wait until you're on your period, if I'm correct, to get it. And going back to that, actually, the main reason I really wanted to get the Nexplanon was because it wasn't really anything invasive so much as like getting it put in. It was going to be really painful because I had heard a lot of stories. I had somebody tell me that some girl had passed out within the clinic I was working in, and so that kind of scared me. I was like, okay, I don't think I'm going to make that. And so I decided to just not even try it out. They have, birth control pills, and I just feel like I'm not really the best when it comes to taking pills, so I just completely eliminated that idea as well. And I know there's other ones that, like the Nuva ring, there's injections, but like I said, I just really didn't know how I felt about all the other ones, and I knew this one was very effective, and so I decided to stick with that. Anyways, fast forward to when I got it. It wasn't painful. It did sting like a bee. That's how they mentioned it, and it didn't really sting and numb it or anything. They just had like a little gun, they pushed it in, and that was it. Fast forward, I start my period a couple of days later, and that's when everything kind of began. I will say the only positive thing that I got from this, I guess, I didn't get pregnant. It was very effective, so I didn't get pregnant, but there was a lot of side effects to my birth control that really got me to really get my birth control out. For my first one, when I started bleeding, I actually didn't stop bleeding for about 6 to 7 months, and that was probably one of the hardest things because it was something that was just going on in my day-to-day life. I was bleeding heavily some days lighter, but I always had to wear pads. I had to wear liners. You know, if you wear them far too much, it can be really irritating physically. I'd actually talked to one of the nurses and I asked them like if I could get some other birth control to regulate my bleeding. However, they said we like to wait just about 3 to 4 months to see if it'll go away on its own before applying something else, which I was really grateful for that we didn't just jump right into it. But within those 4 months I was not having it. I think it was around the 6th month that I was like, you know what, I really need this. I can't wait anymore. My body's not wanting to take it. After that, I got what was called the Balcotra birth control pill. It didn't regulate my period throughout the whole time I was taking it. But I will say this, within that time of me having those birth controls in, both of them, so the Nexplanon and the Balcotra in my system, I was very mentally out of whack. I was always mad. I was always crying. Everything made me so sensitive. For all you girls out there who are like me when it comes to like just really having like menstrual symptoms, like you get cranky and stuff, imagine being like that, and because of your having 2 birth controls, like I was full blown always just pissed off at everybody, and I was like, why do I feel like this? And not just that, but I started feeling really depressed. And I remember having this conversation with my husband. I was like, you know, I don't feel okay right now. I don't feel like I'm mentally okay. And I started crying at that point because I was like, I don't want to feel like this. But I can either choose between continuing bleeding and, you know, stop my Balcotra, or I can leave it in and just be like a whole train wreck basically. And in the end I decided to get it out because I just didn't want it to affect me mentally. I was like, I'll handle it physically, but mentally I just don't want to go there. I don't want to be full on depressed and start getting all these other things. So I got off of it, and thankfully after I got it off of it, maybe like a couple weeks later, my bleeding stopped. The next one was a lot of weight gain. So I actually put up 35 pounds since I got it. And I remember people telling me like, you're putting up weight. And I knew I was, because I would constantly weigh myself. Like when I was younger, I would be so self-conscious about like my weight and stuff. But I think I did go to a point where I was like happy with my weight. Like I would have a lot of urges to want to eat so much. I had a lot of like cravings. With this, of course, like I wasn't losing anything. I was gaining weight and gaining weight. I think right now this is my biggest weight. I don't even know how much I weigh, but I knew I gained 35 pounds, and that was just it. I did experience a whole ton of bloating to where my mom and the other people would think like I was like lightly pregnant or something. I had like a belly literally, and of course I wasn't pregnant, but I was bloated like that. And I think it was one of the most frustrating things, because I mean, who wants to look like that, you know, and be questioned all the time? Like it makes you kind of feel awkward when people ask you like, are you pregnant? So that was another one. I did get a lot of hormonal acne. Thank God it's controlled, that I'm not actually getting it there anymore. This is where I'm gonna start getting into like what made me get off of it. Another big thing that I had been experiencing was depression. I had so much depression with that time frame, and I felt like it was pretty heavy on me. I would constantly like put myself down. I would constantly just feel like I was in this pit hole of like all these emotions and all these negative thoughts about myself and the people around me. Like I really felt really depressed. And one of my biggest hits is like that I feel with my anxiety is, and it's not even related to anything else other than this, is like my health. I haven't really felt that lately, honestly, and I'm just so grateful for that. I would feel like really heavy on my health anxiety. Like every little thing that in my body, I would go over my head and think that I was literally dying, or something bad's gonna happen to me or something. I don't know. I actually noticed a difference with my mental health from the time I had it and from the time of like, it's been what, like a little bit over a month since I got it out, and I feel a lot different, honest to God, like, and it's just one of the hardest things that I've dealt with. I mean, I kid y'all not, guys, like, it's been a little over a month since I got it out, and I really haven't been in that place to where I feel like I have like this anxious place of anxiety. Lastly, the one thing that really pushed me to get it out was, and I think this is the one thing that actually I did really think over it, and I had, you know, very good reason to, but it was because I had found a breast cyst, and this was maybe like maybe like a month prior to getting my birth control out. I found these lumps in my breasts. I found one, and then like a week later found another one on this side, and I, you know, didn't know if those were like cancerous lumps or if they were just cysts or what. However, it was a very fearing situation. I went to the hospital, I got it checked, and they explained that it was a breast cyst. However, mine's a complex cyst, so it means that I have more solid components within my breast cyst, and they have to really just keep an eye out for it in case it returns cancerous, which I pray to God it doesn't. In the name of Jesus, I hope not. So I do have to get checked in another 6 months just to make sure that everything still looks good, that there is no change within my cysts, and they've actually maybe subsided. But they did explain to me that because I had more hormone in my body, and I did tell them I had the Nexplanon, and they said that's a potential cause for your breast cyst. So and that was told to me by two different doctors in different places, so it was a confirmation that my Nexplanon was, you know, a very big cause to my breast cyst. Of course, I can't say 100%, but I feel more than certain because that is full of hormone, and so that was really my most motivating reason to get it out. And I think, and of course it's within like the Nexplanon website. I didn't know about this prior to getting it on, but it does state that serious potential side effects can be lump in breast, it can be mental mood changes, depression, abdominal pelvic pain, severe stomach, tiredness, dark urine, yellow eyes, and coughing up blood. So a lump in a breast is considered a severe symptom of the birth control, which really just puts my mind like in a very not okay place when it comes to like thinking like I could have prevented this. It was my decision to get it in. In my research, when I got the Nexplanon, I looked at all the potential side effects, or at least all the ones I thought were there. I knew that there was going to be like bleeding, heavy bleeding, you know, constant bleeding possibly. I looked at a lot of women's different experiences. It's an eye-opener for me to really just understand like what I put myself through. I don't have any plans of going back on birth control. As far as like pills or getting hormone in my body, I just don't want to go back to that because I know how bad it is for my body, and I just don't want to put myself through that anymore. But anyways, that was really my experience. I will say I am not a medical professional by any means. I am not here to convince you to get it or not get it, to really put you in a position of like get it or not, you know. I'm just here to express my experience and why I got it off. It was really the best decision for my life, and I'm just so happy that I got it out. Okay, anyways, you guys, my camera ended up dying. No matter what you end up choosing to do, if you're here, based to like check out for a decision or get a whole experience on it, hopefully this helps you. But no matter what you end up deciding, hopefully it goes well for you. But anyways, you guys, I'll see you on the next video, and thanks for stopping by. Bye.